Hey everybody, happy new week. Wow, it's my daily live at midday. I'm only 5 or 6 minutes late. I was just finishing up a support call with my authors, and I'm excited to join you for my midday live as we go through this journey of our 10-year celebration and going through the memories of what has happened. So yesterday we went through the origin story. If you've missed some of the daily lives, I suggest go scroll down my personal profile, and you can watch some of the stories throughout. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about the journey of the 10 years going from an offline to an online model, and what has been, how did the pivot occur, what's different about it, and how does it feel like? What it has certainly enabled us to grow internationally at a rapid rate. So the first 6.5 years, we were offline. I was doing touring all around Australia about 3 times. About 35 to 40 of our seminars were executed offline. We would do a tour around February, March, then another one around May, and then another one around August and September. And we would always host 4 retreats a year. So we always host a February, a May, an August, and a November retreat. So that has never changed. Whether it's offline or online, we are hosting, we host the same 4 retreats every year. We're about to host the 46th one. So in 10 years, we've managed to get 46 Ultimate 48 Hour Author retreats under our belt with over 800 people. Hey, Susan and Sierra. Sierra is one of our retreat participants. She's been to 2 retreats herself, written 2 books. Lovely to see you on the call. So offline. So what was it like offline? Well, we would hire, initially we hired big mansions in Victoria, so about 2 hours drive from where I live. And eventually we moved to retreat venues, because initially it was my lovely husband Stuart, who would cook and feed and water all of us, and I would mentor and run the trainings and support and all that kind of stuff. And literally, as soon as he would pack up breakfast and tidy up the dishes, he would have to start preparing for lunch. And this was like on and on and on for 48 hours. It was a bit crazy, but it was also very intimate. It was very much family-like, and there was that closeness and bonding and kind of living together with 10 authors, because the idea initially was to get 10 people locked in a house and feed them, water them, and get them to complete their books. Eventually, as we grew beyond 10, and we always kind of had this vision to go up to 20, still intimate size groups to this day. Our retreats are somewhere between 20, 25 max participants. And we moved into retreat venues. So we started using various retreat venues around Victoria. And the thing we always did, though, to make sure everyone feels like a family, because that's one of our core values, we have 4 values. Those are fun, fast, fame, and family. And to make everyone feel like family, and you guys know that I'm Macedonian, and us wogs like to pick up people from the airport. So literally me, Stuart, and a couple of crew people, so a couple of past authors would come and help. We would do a whole procession of cars and pick up our interstate and international authors at Melbourne Airport. And everyone would jump into different cars, and we told them how they had to pack, so everything, all the bags would have to be packed up properly. And sometimes it would take 10 to 12 people across then to the retreat venue, do the whole retreat, and then drive them back to the airport, drop them off, and then we would go home. I mean, this was a massive operation. Not only were we hosting a retreat, we were doing like a pick up and a drop off service. And look, it was lovely. We had wonderful conversations in the cars when we got to the retreat venues. Then once we were part of conference centers, everything was taken care of. We didn't have to worry about Stuart cooking and preparing for the meals, so he could mentor. And then we always would take away a couple of our previously attended authors to come and crew. We had a wonderful time connecting, bonding, but it was bloody tiring. It was very tiring doing all of the, obviously, initially the food shopping, all the driving, all the being with people in a physical place, making sure everyone's taken care of. And, just the logistics around that were quite complicated. And also authors would fly in, like say the night before or in the morning sometimes. And that day one would be quite exhausting for a lot of people, especially if they came in on the morning flight. So it was pretty full on for everybody. We would get home, and I remember after the first 2 or 3 retreats, I would take literally 5 days to recover. I slowly started getting it down to 1 or 2 days for recovery, but I remember the first 2 or 3 retreats, it was like 5 full days. I couldn't come back to myself. So anyway, that was the first 6.5 years, and we were supported by a local Melbourne publishing company for the first half of our decade, and the second half we've had our own in-house publishing company. I'll talk about that more in another day upcoming, but COVID hit March 2020, and we're 3.5 years since that day. And I remember I was in a Queensland hotel at the Mantra speaking for one of my authors' conferences. She was doing a HypnoBiz conference, and we were all there, and they were talking about shutting down the borders. We were about to embark on a 17 event tour. We were at our height of our success in terms of we had 60 to 70 people booked into our seminar rooms, which usually they used to average about 35 to 40. So they're almost double the size. We're about to head out to America, right, and do a 6-city tour. LA, Texas, like Houston, Dallas, Florida. We were going to go to Tampa, Orlando, and Miami. And it was like, do we go? Should we not go? I even went, there was a psychic at this conference, and I went to her and I said, all right, do a reading on me because I want to find out should I be going to America or not? Should I get on a plane, which I was meant to be getting on this plane in 4 days' time, or not? And she gave me some really ambiguous answers and all that sort of stuff. But in the end, we decided, no, we're not going to. And as Vivi, my publications manager, left the hotel, Stuart was coming in, and we were about to execute the last final 3 events, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sunshine Coast in Australia, the final live face-to-face events, and still very weird things were going on, and the things we had to do a check-in and all that sort of stuff. And however, I did not wait. I didn't, I don't know what within me, I thought also I was one of those people that thought this was going to blow over, but also I was one of those people that did not sit on their butt and kind of wait for it to blow over. So I opened up Zoom. I'm on Zoom, using Zoom now to go live this morning, today. And I recorded a video. Hey guys, you're booked in for the upcoming seminar. Obviously with the world closing out, and we're not running it face to face. We have to stay put. We will do exactly the same thing, same time, same content, everything the same. We'll just do it via Zoom. And so we will remind you and all that sort of stuff. So I would say about more than half of the registered people, they were all paid tickets, did show up. The other half didn't, obviously, because things were changing in the world. Hardly anybody asked for a refund. Maybe 3 or 4 people at the most out of hundreds, probably nearly across all of those events, probably 1,000 people registered. And we went online, and oh my goodness, the online was scary, because I was so used to being in a room, and the way you would do things or get people to interact was slightly different to Zoom, right? And so I had to figure out, like, the first 2 or 3 I absolutely hated, but I said, I'm committed to do this 17 event tour, even though it's all now online. But by the time I've done it 17 times, maybe I will have learned, repetition is the mother of all skills. So I will have hopefully moved to, understanding how to run it effectively and all that sort of stuff. So the first 2 or 3 events I absolutely hated, little results here and there. And then it was the first USA event, which was LA. I remember, logged on, did the seminar, and we had like 9 to 10 authors come on board from that seminar. And I was like, oh my God, I think this is going to work. Finally, I started because I had this big limiting belief that wasn't going, what I did was not going to work online. People were not going to invest in my high-end program just by meeting me on Zoom and all that sort of stuff. And it wasn't true. It was just a limiting belief. This is like where, we think something's possible, we'll be right. You think something's not possible, you'll also be proven right. So I started to get that belief, I think this is going to work. And so we continued on all the USA events. We did the separate ones for all the separate cities, the way they were planned to do face-to-face. And to be honest, after the first 5 or 6, we never looked back. We were like, oh my God, this is how we're going to also be able to establish ourselves internationally permanently, which is what's been happening the last 3.5 years. Now, the retreats also moved online. We did not change any of the timing. The timing runs the same way it used to run a face-to-face event to the way it runs online. So for me, I was the one with the limiting belief that, it wouldn't be as good and all that sort of stuff. But the first one was also the USA one. And the USA one was in the middle of the night. So I also thought I needed to get up and be there for people at their time convenience. All right. So this is another limiting belief. And so for the first 3 USA retreats, and we used to separate them to begin with online, we separated Australia, New Zealand with the USA, Canada people, and we ran 3 separate retreats for each of those countries. But the USA and Canada ones, we would get up at 2 a.m., like 3 days in a row, and host them through our night. And the first one I remember was the USA one. It was in May 2020. And then the Australian one ran literally a week later. So we did like 2 back to back. And so I, it was like jet lag, self-imposed jet lag. But as I was running this retreat, and I could see that the value of the chat box. So when we're doing mock-up cover critique segment, it wasn't just one person that would give feedback out of the room. When we were in a physical retreat room, we could get the feedback from the 20 people that were there, or the 15 people, however many that were at the retreat. And that would be really like holistic. Like you would get lots of comments and things. So the chat box and the ability for people to contribute ideas and suggestions, it has been invaluable. You can't do that in a real life room. Sharing the screen and showing people how to do something and being able to record everything in the moment so they have the resources for later, which we didn't record anything in a face-to-face retreat. We just did it. And if you captured, if you didn't, bad luck, right? But the ability to share screen and help people technologically, that was amazing. People were not tired because they could log in from their own homes, or they would take themselves to a hotel or to a local own retreat space, and they would log in for the 3 days. The 3 days, there's 9 hours on day 1, 9 hours of day 2, 5 hours on day 3. It's a hothouse. We're all in this virtual bubble where everyone's focusing. So when they go into what we call the quiet room, as Sierra says, I love when I prove my fears wrong, right? When we would go into the quiet room, everyone would be writing and focusing, and they would come back and I've written 1,000 words or whatever. I've spoken out how many chapters. And so we realized that people were not being distracted by socializing, connecting, partying. Like, I'm a bit of an extrovert, so I used to stay up quite late at the face-to-face retreats, and literally, like, some people would treat it as a bit of a holiday or a time away from family or kids and all that, and not focus as much on why they came to write the book, writing the book. So by moving the retreats virtual, now I've hosted 28 face-to-face ones and now 17 virtual ones. So we're nearly half. Hand on heart, I would have never been the person to say this, but I swear to God, the virtual retreats kick ass. Not for the connection part or the being skin to skin and all that. You understand the benefits of all that, but in terms of getting the goal achieved, the technology, the ability to help people out, and the other thing is people are not traveling, because for 48 hours it's a very quick in and out, right? So for our model, because it is a shorter one, my intention is actually I am taking a small group of authors next year, March 2024 to Phuket, and that's going to be like a little testing ground of a retreat at Club Med. And then according to feedback, we probably will bring in once a year that kind of a connection space where we can come together for 7 days and all that sort of stuff. So that's in the works, depending on how 24 goes for 25, and I'll organize that big kind of face-to-face experience for everybody. But for now, we're here to stay online virtually for the 48-hour author retreat. It's going to stay online because it is better. Now, why is it also better is our calendar of support calls. Our calendar of support calls is so much more elaborate than what it was when it was face-to-face. When it was, let me just show you, I've just come up with my 2024 calendar of events, and I haven't released this out yet, but I'm just going to share my screen. This stuff here that we see never existed. It was only the green ones. These were the retreats. The 4 retreats, Feb, May, August, November. But now everything's live. We have Coaching Couch with Nat. We have Publishing Accelerator calls. We have masterclasses. None of this existed. So the ability to be able to help people face to like in a live scenario, but because I was on planes, I was in cars, I was in Ubers, I was packing and unpacking, I was managing my energy because I had to travel. So there was just not enough left to be able to do all of this extra stuff. So now that we're online and we can be in one place, we can join our authors and actually help them with all their questions. I've just got off the Coaching Couch with that. And that there's some of the benefits that I never could see possible. So this enabled me to also be here more for my children and not have to get on and off planes, because the first decade of being in business, so together I've been in business 13 and a half years, and 10 years of Ultimate 48-Hour Author, obviously this month. But yeah, I was on planes the first 10 years, on and off, and, you know, kind of leaving, come back, leaving, come back, and all that sort of stuff. And now I'm able to be here with people. So thank you. Thank you so much for listening to a little bit of the story in the background, and how things have evolved. And we're always looking to grow. We've grown by a team member, one team member each year for the last 8 years. So we've got quite an established team of experts within their own right that help me do all of this now, which I'm so grateful and blessed to do. And I can't wait to see where we are at in another 10 years. I'm still so passionate about this business. I love seeing the transformation people have in their lives because they write a book, because I often I'm known for saying that writing your first book is not about the book. It is about the person you become at the other end of it. And they're the things that I want to keep seeing and experiencing, and having people say, you've changed my life because I wrote my book, or you've changed even my life and business because I've been able to leverage myself and live the lifestyle I've always wanted to live. So that's a little bit about how this this has changed and pivoted, and tomorrow I'll come and share some more insights and reminisce back down memory lane about another part of our development over the years. So hopefully some of this you're finding helpful. Maybe you're a person who's been running things offline and you've been thinking about online, or vice versa. You know, they both have beauty and pros and cons. But for a person who never thought my stuff would work online, you know, the pivot took us international, now consistently working with USA, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and other countries, but these are our main ones. And I can't wait to see what unfolds as we go forward. I look forward tomorrow to hosting my next live seminar, 9 a.m. Melbourne time. If you have not been to one before, come and join us. It's free to attend. It's a seminar that I've run over 400 times the last 10 years, and I absolutely love sharing our system and insights behind that. So have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys at midday tomorrow. Bye.